the psychology of people who don't post their photos. You scroll through your camera roll and something stops you. Not the lighting, not the angle. Something deeper that whispers you're not ready to be seen. Not yet. Maybe not ever. While others curate their digital presence like art galleries, you exist in the margins of the internet, liking, commenting, observing, but never quite stepping into the frame. And if someone asks why, you have your reasons ready. You're private. You don't care about validation. You're above all that. But late at night, when you're alone with your thoughts, you know the truth is more complicated. Because this isn't about humility. It's about something that happened long before social media existed. Something that taught you that visibility equals vulnerability. That being seen means being judged. That the safest place to exist is just outside everyone's line of sight. Here's the paradox. The very instinct that once protected you, the ability to make yourself small, to disappear when necessary, to control how much of yourself the world could access, has become the cage you now live in. And now, even when you're safe, even when you're loved, even when no one is watching, you still can't let yourself be fully seen. The question isn't why you don't post photos. The question is, what are you still hiding from? Let's start with what psychologists call visibility anxiety, a learned fear response where exposure of the self triggers the same neurological patterns as physical danger. Your amygdala can't distinguish between posting a photo and standing on a stage in front of a hostile crowd. Both feel like existential threat. This often begins in childhood through conditional regard, where your worth was tied not to your existence, but to your performance, your appearance, your ability to meet expectations that shifted like sand beneath your feet. You learned early that being yourself was dangerous, that authenticity invited criticism, that the only control you had was in what you chose not to reveal. Many of you developed an avoidant attachment style, not because you didn't need connection, but because every time you reached for it, you were met with judgment or indifference. So you learned to need nothing, to want nothing, to present nothing. The less of yourself you offered, the less could be rejected, and slowly, invisibility became synonymous with safety. Your brain's default mode network is hyperactive, constantly monitoring how others perceive you, running endless simulations of judgment and rejection, even when no one is actually watching, creating hypervigilance where your nervous system never fully relaxes because it's always scanning for social threat. Many of you experienced emotional neglect, not the dramatic kind that leaves visible scars, but the quiet kind, where your feelings were treated as inconvenient, where your joy was too loud, your sadness too heavy. So you learn to perform emotional minimalism, to take up less space, and eventually to exist less visibly. The refusal to post photos isn't vanity in reverse. It's a sophisticated defense mechanism built by a child who learned that being seen meant being hurt. But here's what no one tells you about living in the shadows. You lose the ability to recognize yourself in the light. When you spend years controlling your visibility, you begin to lose track of what you actually look like outside your own surveillance. You know every flaw in microscopic detail, but you've forgotten how to see yourself the way others do, with context, with warmth, with forgiveness. Carl Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But you've been doing the opposite. You've been becoming who you think you need to be to stay safe, trading authenticity for acceptance, except you're not even getting the acceptance because you're not showing up to receive it. Your core fear isn't actually being judged, it's being known and still being rejected. The photo is just the evidence, the proof that you exist in a specific body, in a specific moment, in a specific way that can't be edited or explained away. And if that version of you isn't enough, if someone sees the real you and turns away, then what? This is existential anxiety, the terror of being fully yourself in a world that may not want you. So you've chosen a you don't need validation. But what you really mean is you can't risk invalidation. You tell yourself you're private. But what you really are is protected from rejection, protected from judgment, protected from being seen and found wanting. But here's the cost. You're also protected from connection, from being recognized, from the profound relief of being known and chosen anyway. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And you've been suffering the weight of imagined judgment for so long that you've forgotten actual judgment is survivable. Let's talk about what this looks like in your life. You might find yourself in relationships where you give everything and ask for nothing, because needing something would make you visible. People call you low maintenance, and you smile, but inside you know it's because you've learned to amputate your own needs before they become inconvenient to others. You might excel professionally in behind-the-scenes roles. The editor, not the author. The researcher, not the presenter. Not because you lack ambition, but because the spotlight feels like an interrogation. You struggle to accept compliments because praise requires you to be seen, and being seen activates every defense mechanism you've built. So you deflect, you minimize, you redirect attention anywhere but toward yourself. You have hundreds of photos of everyone else, but almost none of yourself. And when someone takes a photo of you, you immediately ask to see it, not to admire yourself, but to assess the damage, to see what evidence of your existence now exists in the world without your permission. You edit your life before you live it, choosing not to go to events where photos might be taken, declining video calls when you don't feel presentable, avoiding mirrors except when necessary. You've become a curator of your own absence. Your self-worth is inversely proportional to your visibility. The less anyone sees of you, the safer you feel. But the safer you feel, the lonelier you become. And the lonelier you become, the more you convince yourself that loneliness is just your preference. These aren't personality traits, they're adaptations, coping mechanisms, built by a version of you who didn't have better options. They made sense once. They kept you safe in an environment that couldn't hold the fullness of who you were, but you're not in that environment anymore. And the patterns that protected you then are now preventing you from being fully alive. The work isn't to force yourself to post photos. The work is to understand why you learned to disappear in the first place. To recognize that the judgment you're avoiding isn't out there. It's internalized. You've become your own harshest critic, your own most vigilant gatekeeper, your own reason for staying hidden. The world doesn't need you to be flawless to be worthy of existence. It just needs you to be real, to be present, to occupy space without apology. Unlearning this pattern means practicing visibility without performance, existence without justification, being seen without being perfect. Recognizing that a photo is just light captured on a sensor, it's not a verdict on your worth. It's just evidence that you were here in this moment, in this body, living this life, and that's enough. So how do you begin to heal? First, you have to grieve the years you spent making yourself small. Grieve the version of you that never got to be seen without fear. This grief is not indulgent, it's necessary. Then you practice inner child work. You speak to the part of you that learned to hide. You tell that child, you are safe now. You don't have to earn your right to exist. You don't have to be perfect to be loved. You can take up space. You begin working with your nervous system because your body still believes visibility equals danger. So you practice small exposures, not posting on social media yet. Just taking a photo of yourself without immediately deleting it, just existing in the frame without judgment. You teach your body that being seen is survivable. You engage in shadow work, the Jungian practice of integrating the parts of yourself you've disowned, the part that wants to be seen, the part that craves recognition. You stop treating these desires as shameful and start recognizing them as human. You practice radical acceptance, the willingness to be with yourself exactly as you are without the compulsion to fix or improve or hide. You look at yourself in the mirror, and instead of cataloging flaws, you simply say, "This is me and I am here." And eventually, if you choose, you post the photo, not because you've become perfect, but because you've decided that your presence in the world matters more than your fear of judgment. James Baldwin wrote, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced." You've been avoiding facing yourself, not because you're cowardly, but because you're human. Because being seen is one of the most vulnerable things we can do. But here's what's on the other side of that vulnerability: connection, recognition, the profound relief of being known. And eventually, if you choose, you post the photo, not because you've become perfect, but because you've decided that your presence in the world matters more than your fear of judgment. James Baldwin wrote, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced." And you've been avoiding facing yourself, not because you're cowardly, but because you're human. Because being seen is one of the most vulnerable things we can do. But here's what's on the other side of that vulnerability: connection, recognition, the profound relief of being known. The discovery that most people aren't judging you nearly as harshly as you judge yourself. The realization that your existence doesn't require justification. The goal isn't to become someone who posts constantly or performs for an audience. The goal isn't to be fixed. The goal is to become whole, to integrate the parts of yourself you've kept hidden, to exist without fear of existing. You don't owe the world your image, but you owe yourself the freedom to be seen if you choose, to step out of the shadows not because you have to, but because you can, because you were never too much, you were never not enough, you were just never taught that being yourself was safe. But it is now, and you are ready. If this resonated, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and remember, your presence matters, even when you can't see it yet.